Well, good afternoon, Alex. Welcome here to our studio in Ipswich, where we're putting together a series of films about super Suffolk suppliers, of which S&P Ventilation Limited are one.
Thank you very much.
You're based in Ipswich, you're a local person, so it'd be great to know a bit about how you got involved in the business and for you to tell us what S&P actually do.
Yeah, so S&P UK are a subsidiary of a Spanish global ventilation manufacturer. Indoor air quality is what we're all about in terms of raising people's awareness and supplying products that can meet those needs for the modern day living, modern day buildings, and how they're built and how we can make sure that the occupation is inside, whether that's work or at home, and we spend an awful lot of time inside buildings, is the best air quality they can have. Primarily we work within the building services sector now, and we work very closely with engineers and consultants who would be designing the actual, not necessarily the architecture, but they were designing all the equipment that goes into making that building run. So we work very closely with those guys and girls, and they are able to assist us and say, look, this is the space, this is the type of volume of or usage, so that you need to know the volume of air you're going to be using, and we can then design that particular piece of equipment for them and say, this is exactly what you want.
Excellent.
Sometimes they're sometimes they're very standardized, but sometimes they have to be bespoke and built in sections.
So when you think about the company expanding and you looking for new employees, do you reach out to schools and colleges in terms of possibly apprenticeships and things like this?
Yeah, apprenticeships is one of my most favourite subjects. We have a real skill shortage in the UK. I think the news coverage is I don't need to go over that again. No. But it's very important for us to grow, and to do that we need people. So a very successful route for us has been the apprenticeship route. We work with schools locally and some colleges as well, and we once we've got the young people into our business, we're able to give them a really good solid foundation, an education, a qualification at the end of it, and we can cover a broad variety of skills. So they could be in the warehouse, for example, they could be a designer, they could be a salesperson, they could be a marketing person, they could be a finance person, and so on and so on. We're not just a technical company. We are obviously technical sales. However, we have a lot of different skills that we need in our business. So it's really, really important for us to bring those skills levels through at the levels that we can do it. And of course, we've been very successful with that. Some of our early apprenticeships are now holding managerial level jobs now. So I'm really, really proud of that.
That's super. That's fantastic. So large infrastructure projects that are starting to happen on the East Coast, with Sizewell C just being one of them.
Yep.
I think at last count there are maybe like 13 or 14 over the next 4 or 5 years which are going to happen. As well as what used to be called High Speed 2 and is still going to be High Speed. With the hospitality industry, certainly in this area, growing rapidly.
Yeah.
You seem to be in a very good location.
The opportunities, as you mentioned, Miles, on the infrastructure projects on the East Coast, and not just those. There's many different sectors that are up and coming in the Eastern region, and I think we're very well placed to meet the demands of all of those different industries, whether that's hospitality, whether that's education, or whether it's larger projects in terms of infrastructure. We have the skill sets within the wider scope, not just locally, but we can draw on those skill sets from our colleagues in France, in Spain, and you touched on tunnelling earlier. For example, we have a subsidiary in Asia who are the world's leading tunnel ventilation business, which is part of our group. So we have a lot of skill sets that we can just draw down if we need to.
And logistically, I mean, you're in Ipswich, so you're with a big hinterland revolving around both Ipswich and Felixstowe.
Yeah.
Logistically, companies know how to find a solution, don't they?
Yeah.
Which is going to help you in terms of your your margins to keep those transport costs down.
Yeah, transport is a huge cost to us.
Yeah.
Not just from Europe to the UK, but within the UK itself. Of course, everything is.
Not everything you make fits on a pallet, does it?
No, it doesn't. No. So we do palletised goods. We do small parcels, but we also use specialist haulage companies to transport some of the larger items. For example, the job that springs to mind, we had one piece of equipment was, when it was fully built, was 5 metres tall.
Wow.
So that came in sections and had to be built on site, but to transport it was just a trick. And of course there are limitations of how high you can transport stuff in the UK. So we have to make sure we get it right.
We're not allowed to hit railway bridges.
Not allowed to do that, no.
You employ nearly 50 people.
Yep.
How do S&P connect with the community in terms of, do you have any examples where you are supporting local community and maybe even the environment?
But we've also just recently become a friend of the foundation, the Ipswich Town Football Club.
Okay.
They run a foundation which is the heart of the football club now. And what I liked about that was that they are able to tell you exactly where the money's going on, whether it's going on wheelchair football or whether it's going to help young children who potentially face a life of crime to get a job where they might not have been benefited from before. Yeah. So it's sort of a start-up to get into employment. So I know my money's been used really wisely and on really worthy causes.
What is the big motivation for you, Alex, in terms of work?
I think I want to be able to leave a legacy for the owners of the business in terms of where we were, where we are now, and where I'd like the business to be. We've had some really great success in the last 3 years, and I have a weekly meeting with my management, my senior leadership team, and it's very structured, and it's only an hour and a half, and the decisions are made, and they move forward. And I think it's really important that we do that because everybody's time is valuable, and to allow the business to grow quickly or successfully, then we need to make sure that people are empowered to make decisions, but then also held accountable to make to follow those actions.
Yeah. Well, that sustainability sounds, and that approach looks like it's set you in good stead. So, thank you very much for coming.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
If we can get together in the near future, and then we can look back on this interview and we'll see how much has been achieved, which I no doubt will be fantastic. So,
I look forward
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miles.